Hi, I'm John. I'm the lead clinician here at Bridge Therapy. Um, kind of wanted to give you a little introduction to Bridge Therapy and to myself. Maybe about myself, I would like to let you know that I think most of what I've experienced professionally and personally is not much different than most folks go through. As things have evolved here at Bridge Therapy in the professional sense, um, I've been a lot very interested always in and fascinated and curious about us, how we operate, how we deal with the context of our life. Um, I think that there's some uniqueness to all of us in the context of our life, but I think there's some shared experiences that we all can agree upon that we go through. Um, Simply put, Albert Ellis, a noted psychiatrist, said that we can count on ourselves to struggle. We can count on ourselves to fail at times. We can count on ourselves to have rough times. What we can't count on is success all the time. What we can't count on is continuous happy times. Um, it's finding a balance, I think, in the work I do with folks. It's finding a balance between many things, including health, good emotional health, and a balance between in living life with all the stressors and all the responsibilities. We're all going through a lot of ups and downs, a lot of challenges, big and little. Some traumatic events have taken place in a lot of people's lives, including myself. These define us. They all belong. They all belong to us. Nothing is outside of us, really. It's our story. And I often think about how I meet folks here, and I've come to realize that for most of us, we feel something, we know something, we sense something. It may be something very serious, certainly, but it may be more subtle, which is a lot of times the case that's been happening, that you've been familiar with, and that you've been dealing with. Certainly, both ends of the spectrum, something traumatic versus something more subtle. Everything has to be. Everything is open for discussion and treatment. I think. I think most of the folks I know who come in here have a lot of questions. They've been asking themselves a lot of questions, as I've asked myself when I've struggled and been presented with some challenges. Some questions can't be answered. There might not be an answer for them, but that's the nature of our problems, of how we go about figuring out things. And then maybe I get a call, which is someone saying, I think I need another. I need another brain. I need another idea. I need another person to help me with this. At that time, I think is when I get to meet them, is what brings us together here at Bridge Therapy, me and other clinicians and the clients. I do feel a kinship for people and the symptoms of trauma and the feelings that people experience. I want to stress that again, that I don't see our lives to be that different from each other's. What I've come to understand is that calling for help of a counselor or a therapist is not always comfortable. It may be a crisis. It may have to be a crisis to make a call. It can be scary, and in truth, it's like opening Pandora's box on a roller coaster. In reality, in this office, I treat my clients as I'd like to be treated. It's in here we evaluate things, we question things, we talk about things, we discuss things. Working in a clinical relationship with people is very unique and very gratifying. Working in a clinical relationship for the clients helps them move beyond what they know. Having an objective person helping. Clinical therapy is a resource. I view it as a resource. It certainly can be used to resolve emotional disturbances. We all know this, some of the issues, relationships, employment, all the symptoms that seem to be the popular ones nowadays, depression and anxiety. I think what we do here is try to act upon and discuss these issues and emotional disturbances and try to bring them to a proportional level that's appropriate for them. Because a lot of folks, including myself, things become very big, very enormous, very overwhelming. Good clinical partnerships transcend the limitations of past. It helps you figure out how to feel, articulate those feelings, examine the concerns, the fears, certainly. And yeah, there's time for hopes and there's dreams and there's time for wishing, and it's very revealing. It doesn't mean it's not hard, though. It's very hard and draining at times. As I said earlier, I think I treat my clients exactly like how I've been treated in a clinical relationship. And forming a hardworking therapeutic relationship cultivates and activates a lot of self-healing properties that we possess. There is a need to look at those self-healing properties. People, folks like myself and everyone else, were able to activate those abilities with some help at times. Creating the awareness and the consciousness that leads to understanding your life is what goes on here. It's collaborative, it's agreeable. At times it can be contractual. You know, we can have agreements in how we work together. Most of all, it has to fit. You know, our work has to be a good fit between each other and for the client. If it's a good fit, life may not feel as hard. That's what happens. Feelings may not be out of proportion. Circumstances may feel more. You may feel more balance in your life. Additionally, within that therapeutic relationship that's developed here at Bridge Therapy, we hope that it transfers outside of this office. I always hope it transfers outside of this office. That 1 hour of therapy on a weekly basis, say, or bi-weekly basis, it reduces that what I see as a affect phobia in our culture. What I mean is that at times we feel that our feelings are an impingement or an intrusion, and that we shouldn't speak about them, and we might be bothering somebody by talking about them. I think that's BS. You know, a healthy relationship that involves a great deal of work in the area of how you're feeling is rewarding. It develops trust. It develops a close bond. It'd be nice if we could do that outside of that hour. And that's our hopes with the clinical work that I've done with folks. I hope it all transfers out, back home, back to their job, back to their relationships. So in some ways, therapy models a good interpersonal relationship. It models it in many ways, and sometimes it's a catalyst for creating that consciousness for you outside of this office. You know, maybe my last kind of thoughts, I'm thinking about we're all trying to achieve better emotional health, and it's a nonlinear work. It's nonlinear. it may be achieved by practicing daily habits. Um, it can be hard. Sometimes the reason we are not doing well emotionally is because we're not practicing some good things in our lives. Good emotional help can feel. I think everyone knows what it feels like. It can feel like you're aerodynamic, like it's frictionless, like it's a well balanced, clear thinking day or moment. If we're lucky. I'm interested in being direct with people as direct as possible with folks. Not that I'm not sensitive to everybody who comes in this office. I'm blessed to work with a lot of really wonderful, talented people. A lot of people come here with that energy to make the commitment to work both cognitively and emotionally. They make a commitment and they stick with it. They show up. Achieving emotional well-being can mean looking at all parts of your life. You can look at the physical condition you're in, how you're eating, how you're sleeping, all the organic things, and maybe even the spiritual sense that we carry. When it comes to spiritual things, I believe in believing. That's where I stand. Clinical work can activate a person's abilities. The work I do here with people, it centers people. I see that every day. It diminishes the hurt. I see that every day with my folks. It restores the balance between pain and pleasure. Someone said just recently to me, when I'm having a rough day, I know it feels like I got to play catch up because the world just keeps turning as we struggle. That sounds like a lonely place to be. And that's why I see clinical therapy as a resource. I don't want to live in a isolation like that. No one should. An objective opinion from a third party can help alleviate some of that isolation and loneliness. So what are you looking for? I'm kind of thinking, a life that's balanced, beautifully balanced, a feeling of wholeness, maybe feeling like you belong or having some hope. But that's probably all I'd like to say today. My credentials are certainly available to people, and I've been practicing for many years. But I hope you have a good day, and thank you.